Powel Crosley Jr. built an empire on one simple idea, that ordinary Americans deserve the good things in life at a price they could actually pay, and then he built himself a mega mansion that broke every one of his own rules. Hi everyone, Ken here. Hit that subscribe button and let's explore this house. In 1886, Powel Crosley Jr. was born in Cincinnati, the son of a lawyer, and from the time he was a boy, he was obsessed with one thing above all others, the automobile. As a teenager, he won a $10 bet from his father by building a working electric car with his younger brother Louis, and that early taste of success set the course for his entire life. The trouble was that Crosley wanted to be a car maker, but he could never quite figure it out. His ambitious Marathon 6 of 1907 never found the money to reach production, and a string of other ventures through the early 1910s, including a cycle car, collapsed one after another. 4 automotive failures in 7 years would have finished most men, but Crosley simply wouldn't give up. In 1916, he joined the American Automobile Accessory Company, and within a year, he owned it, and within 2, it was a $1 million business built on selling car parts by mail. That mail-order fortune gave him the freedom to stumble into the opportunity of his life. In 1921, his young son asked for a radio, and Crosley, appalled that the sets in stores cost $100, decided he could build a better one for a fraction of the price. With help from 2 university engineering students, he produced a cheap set called the Harco, first sold for about $20 and later far less, and the public bought them by the trainload. By 1924, the Crosley Radio Corporation was the largest radio manufacturer in the world, and the press, somewhat ironically, crowned him the Henry Ford of radio. To give people a reason to buy his radios, he launched a Cincinnati station in 1922 called WLW. It began at 50 watts and grew until, in 1934, it roared to life at 500,000 watts, the most powerful broadcaster the nation had ever known. An outlet so mighty it was nicknamed the nation's station and could be heard across the country and beyond. When the Depression hit and radio sales sagged, Crosley pivoted to appliances, and his masterstroke was the Shelvador, the first refrigerator with shelves built into the door, an idea so obvious in hindsight that it seems strange no one had done it before. In 1934, he bought his hometown's struggling baseball team, the Cincinnati Reds, saving it from bankruptcy, and the ballpark was promptly renamed Crosley Field in his honor. And through it all, he never let go of the car dream, finally launching Crosley Motors in 1939 with the Featherweight Series 1A, unveiled at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a compact weighing under 925 pounds that at $325 was the lowest priced car in America. Despite that, the little Crosley cars, clever as they were, never caught on. Long before the cars in the ballpark, in 1925, Crosley and his wife Gwendolyn toured England, and they came home smitten with the old country estates they had seen, with their exposed timbers, iron accents, and rustic brick. To build their dream on a hilltop in Cincinnati's Mount Airy neighborhood, they hired the New York architect Dwight James Baum. Crosley gave Baum a single instruction to make the house look as though it had already stood for 400 years. Rising 2 stories across 13,334 square feet, the Tudor Revival Manor is a picturesque sprawl of steep-gabled rooflines, tall clustered chimneys, brick and stone walls, and half-timbering that seems lifted straight out of the English countryside. If you set the black and white photographs from the late 1920s beside the color images taken today, the remarkable thing is how little has changed. The same weathered walls, the same commanding silhouette on the hill. Throughout the exteriors are the wrought iron flourishes credited to Samuel Yellen, the finest architectural blacksmith of the age, whose handiwork ties the whole composition together. The estate that surrounded the house was a private kingdom, complete with a golf course and a landing strip. At its heart lay a 5-acre lake, and true to the mind of a man who flew his own plane home, it was shaped like an arrowhead so he could spot his property from the air. Picture Crosley's family stepping out of one of their Crosley cars in the drive, the little economy machine parked before this baronial pile in a contrast that says everything about the man. He would pass beneath a carved stone surround framing the front door, the kind of solid, handworked Tudor archway meant to make every visitor feel they were entering something ancient. As we take a look at the floor plan, I'd like to tell you all about our new members program. For just 99 cents per month, you can become a channel member and help support our research. Now back to our tour. Inside, the stair hall greets you first, gathering the ground floor together and sending the grand staircase climbing toward the bedrooms above. Like the rest of the house, it is a study in dark wood and craftsmanship, the sort of stair meant to be descended slowly and admired. This entrance area once held a full pipe organ whose music would drift through the house. Though, the console has since gone into storage, and its pipes were removed from the attic and given new life in the organ at the Cincinnati Museum Center at Union Terminal. In the old images and the new, the staircase remains the crux of the home. Just off the hall, the living room is the showpiece, crowned by a dramatic beam ceiling that soars overhead. A grand fireplace anchors one wall, and tall stained glass windows wash the space in colored light. This was the heart of the household, the room where the family gathered, and where, one March morning, Crosley's own remarkable life would come to its end. Set the vintage photographs against the current ones, and the room feels almost unchanged, still glowing with the same jewel-toned glass and dark, hand-tuned beams. From there, the gallery carries you deeper into the house, a long connecting hall of the sort the old Tudor houses used to move guests gracefully from one grand room to the next. Lit in part by the home's remarkable stained glass, it is a space that changes character entirely with the time of day. The gallery delivers you to the dining room, which reflected Crosley's taste for rich dark paneling and finely detailed ceilings, a room designed for the kind of entertaining a man of his standing was expected to do. Compare the period photograph with the room today, and you will see the same paneled walls that have hosted gatherings for nearly a century. For everyday meals, the family kept a breakfast room, a smaller and sunnier space than the formal dining room. It was in a spot like this that Crosley wove his inventor's touches into daily life, including lights rigged to switch on the moment a door was opened. Climb the grand staircase, and the second-floor landing opens onto the family's bedrooms, a quiet threshold between the public grandeur below and the private world above. Powell's own bedroom carried the same warm woodwork and quiet grandeur as the rest of the house, a private retreat for the industrialist at the end of his long days. The historical photos and the modern ones tell the same story here, a bedroom built for comfort rather than show. The bathrooms are the definition of Cincinnati pride, lined with tile from the city's own celebrated rookwood pottery. Even now, those glazed tiles hold their color so that the modern photographs look scarcely different from the ones taken when the house was new. Everywhere you turn, Pinecroft rewards a second look, from carved mantels and paneled walls to stained glass tucked into the most unexpected corners. Those windows are the truest portrait of the man, glowing with images of the fishing, hunting, polo, and University of Cincinnati college days he loved. Down a curving stone staircase waits a castle-like game room, and hidden behind its wall panel is another of the home's secret safes, said to have guarded his wine through the years of Prohibition. Crosley's later years were quieter than his roaring prime. He had already built a lavish winter home down in Florida known as Seagate. Let me know if you'd like to see a video about that one. Anyways, back home at Pinecroft in 1961, Powell passed from a heart attack in the house he loved at the age of 74. Crosley's daughter sold Pinecroft, and in 1963 it passed to the Franciscan Sisters of the Poor, who used the mansion as a retreat. A hospital rose on part of the old estate in the 1970s, and the surrounding land was gradually carved into parcels, shrinking the Grand Kingdom to the house and its immediate grounds. In 2008, Pinecroft was added to the National Register of Historic Places, and in 2011, the property was donated to the Cincinnati Preservation Association, which restored the gardens and reopened the house. As of 2025, the association had listed the estate for $2.4 million, and it went under contract to buyers who plan to adapt it into a boutique hotel, wellness center, year-round event venue, and farm-to-table restaurant called the Crosley, all protected in perpetuity by a preservation easement. Whatever comes next, the mansion still stands as remarkable and exquisite as the day Crosley first moved in. And with that, I'll turn it over to you. Which room was your favorite? Let me know down below in the comment section, and while you're there, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss an exciting episode of This House.